Welcome everyone to the 313th weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. Somehow it's already what
Oh,
month is
wait, no, it's the 400th. Didn't you know?
oh 400. Sorry, my bad. It is March 1st, 2022. I guess we moved in time. I'm so proud of us.
Yay, we
Uh,
did
Time
it.
travel.
400. This is the 400th stream part one. We'll just wait for ages to get part two.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, as you can hear, we do have a small horde of silly folks with us. We got an Aliclaw.
Hello.
There's a CPC somewhere in the background fluffing things. There's a Len.
Yes, hello.
We got Wolf Chicken Fan Club,
Hello.
which is
I also
Vex.
go by Vex, if
Yeah,
that helps.
but I think Wolf Chicken Fan Club is better. And we got a Zai.
Hello.
And
Yeah, and there's LD is here
what?
as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Hi. When did he get here?
I don't know.
Hmm.
He
We've
roasted
tried to get
Blaze
him to
so much.
leave, but he doesn't pick the hint up, so.
Awkward.
Love you, Som. Please never leave.
All right, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any art you'd like to submit, please feel free to submit it before we fill the canvas with buff horses.
I've been playing too much Otomy, so apologies about the cryptic poetry on the bottom of the awesome card of war.
All right, let's do this. So our first picture,
Cool art.
yeah, our first picture submitted is by Pyro Millie. Old Smiles, commissioned for You Chaotic Glow. Oh, Jazz Wolf has some art for us, so we'll do yours right after this one on. All right. Cool.
My first thoughts with this picture is composition related. So I love that Big Mac is on a third, like quite easily. But we have like this is that Golden Harvest or is it Pear Butter? I can't quite tell. In the background here, just kind of you don't really want the characters to be on the in the center line. And then you've got like an entire section of the picture that's just taken up by this rock. I do sort of appreciate like the composition, but I would definitely move this over to like here and the pony sitting down like over here maybe. Because what you want to try and stick to is the rule of thirds if possible. So you have if you were to divide the image into to 9 squares, these are like the focal points. With this one like especially being the most, at least for left to right reading countries. Um, but so that's kind of why you want to focus the composition this way. And you can see why this is a good focal point now. But it's kind of weird having this entire section cut off. So I would just try and change that maybe if you can. If you don't want to like draw, or if it would take too much time to draw all the more background, I completely understand. This is a very finished picture. It can just sort of be like advice for next time. But yeah, that's like the first thing that pointed out to me anyway.
I
You don't
think
want
it
to
is supposed to
completely
be a page of
redraw it.
paper.
Go ahead.
This side, I think it's a paper for like place to write stuff.
Oh, I could see that. Like, okay, so if this was meant to be like a cover art or like some kind of art that has like information on the side, I could see that.
From my
Yeah.
side,
Yeah,
it
sort of
doesn't.
I thought it was like a rock face.
Yeah. I was seeing a rock or a tree or something. It's not very clear as paper to me.
Yeah, it looks very like rigid. Like honestly, if I was drawing a rock and this was what I came up with, I would be quite proud of myself. It looks like there's like different segment layers, sediment layers. Yeah, I can see sort of where you try to have like staining and things if that is the case, and creases and stuff. There are some techniques to do sort of good like little sort of staining effects and stuff. You look up like tutorials of paper textures. Either way, I mean, the sort of rule of thirds still kind of stands, but I understand that if sometimes pictures have like special circumstances. I'm curious as to what's going on in this piece. Did they have any information, LD?
Nope.
Nope. Because I don't know why this Big Mac is being all sort of uncaring while this pony is sad and crying, and why that's happening. And I just
Oh.
noticed there's something. Oh, it's a leaf. Okay, I thought that was a character in the background riding over the horizon. Like,
So actually, there is a bit of details which might explain a bit of this. Sorry, going through the comments. You a Chaotic Glow has written an original MLP song and needed cover art for the YouTube video. The page on the left is the space for the lyrics in the video.
So
See, that makes sense. Right. It's been a long time since I've done full-fledged pony art. Blah, blah. But we can still apply rule of thirds to the Big Mac and Carrot Top there. If we're just bring them in.
That was
assuming we cut the page out.
Yeah, and if that was the case, I can obviously leave the horizontal ones. Then I would like move the Big Mac over and move Carrot Top over. Oh, what has happened to my pen? Oh. Just sort of moving them a little bit over to the right. Pretend your squiggles are ponies. Would then move them onto those thirds.
Oh, the video's already up online. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and link that, because it only has 83 views. Oh,
I was trying to do a song cover art picture as well, but it was going really well, but then I had to draw a stupid picnic basket, and I've been stumped on it for a week.
The little things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Later. All right, shall we move on to our next lovely picture?
Sure.
Cool.
Yep.
Hey, Pix.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the world of the waking.
Do we want to do
thank you.
jazzes since they...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need some of these drawings moved. Sorry. All right, Jazz. I wanted to know about the back, or I wanted to know if the back legs are okay in the new picture. Also, if the hair is okay. Even now, the back legs still give me problems somewhat. So I assume you're talking the 2022 one. Also, really cool signature. I hope you use a stamp and don't recreate that every time.
Yeah, or else.
Yo, wait. It's my song.
What?
That's my song right there.
The one we linked?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just critiqued the art in it.
Yo, what'd you think?
I haven't listened to it yet because we're in a live stream.
Oh.
So I can't play
sorry.
music over it.
Sorry.
No worries. But if you want to talk about it, we'll probably be done in like 30 minutes. So feel free to mute yourself for now, and when we're done, we can have a good old talk about them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so they wanted to know about the back leg
Yeah. And the hair.
and the hair.
I freaking love your hair. The only thing is the tail. The tail's a lovely shape, a lovely everything fluffy about it. Oh my god, it's so fluffy. I just want to avoid the static shock that's going to come from this. But yeah, someone's fixed that. So right now, basically, you have your tail popped out fully to the side. But if it's actually following behind them, because it follows their spine, that makes its way all the way down the body and out the back, down the center of the back. So we would keep the tail in that direction. It is fine to throw them left and right if they have movement, because that helps sell the movement to the picture, because we're only working with the single scene. But in this case, because they appear to be very static in their pose, I would bring it off behind them a bit.
It's more about trying to use the overlap to accentuate that what you've drawn is the tail going behind them, and not make it look like it's going out to the side. I think because of especially because of how the highlights look, make it look even more like it's coming out from the side, just because of the way it's bent. It can be very tricky to get it to look like it's going away from the camera sometimes. But yeah, trying to push that is always important.
Overlaps.
Is this pony like a spinner? They look very dizzy. I like the spinny eyes; they're good.
Basically, overlaps are good. They help
Yes.
your picture kind of feel more 3D and all that kind of sort of stuff.
I feel like I've seen this pony before, like the older pictures. I feel like I've seen those before.
I
I'm
think
not
we've
sure.
critiqued one of the older ones back in a long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Yeah, they definitely look similar, look familiar.
But you can see the changes that people have been like doing to the shape of the legs and all that sort of stuff. It's just refining things.
Either way, the improvement between those last years was absolutely phenomenal. So good job with that.
Yeah.
Especially in the shading, like
I
so
love
textured and the nice color balance and all that.
I like doing these hooves that you've done where you've got like the leg just like the general like shape of the leg, not having them just be tubes that you've got a nice. Ooh, that's not a pen. I can't get off of the selection now. Help me, someone. How do you deselect? There it is. Okay. You've got like the shoulder, and then you come down. You've got like the actual like hoof extending out. Like very very nice, very good stompers, and they're all fluffy.
The only thing I've added here is the neck was really thick, so where I have those striped yellow lines, here's where the neck currently is. Following that head shape, it would curve in, so it wouldn't just go straight down like you have it here. It'd curve in to follow that circular head shape.
Heck yeah. I just pulled this ear in a little bit just to kind of match with the head a little bit more. But no big stress. Definitely chuck us more sketches and more like working pictures and all that kind of sort of stuff. Because your art's good. And I think it's time for us to move to the next picture.
Unless they had any final questions, or
Definitely keep it up. This is
yeah.
such a lovely fuzzy horse. I want more lovely fuzzy horses in this world.
Yep.
All right, let's hop onto this next cool one. We got one by Possessed Bird. Couch cuddles with Albus and Scarlet. Now, is Albus and Scarlet the little pets, or are they the horses?
It's a very cute picture, though. I love
It
cuddly
is.
pictures.
I'm interested what's happening. What's with these leaves that's beside Green Horse?
Oh, could you take away the circle? I'm trying to see what's
What's
under them. Oh, could they be snacks? Maybe they're snacks for the little guy.
Oh, that's even cuter. But why wouldn't you just eat the sandwich? Just feed the sandwich to the pet. Man,
I'm assuming they didn't have any questions.
No.
So I guess then my first critique would be give us some questions. The best thing for getting critique is having something in mind that you would like to work on, or something, even if it's like, hey, I really liked how I did the wings, the hair, and the, I don't know, the background, but I was struggling with the hooves and the positioning of the pets. Just kind of get your brain to think about what it is you're asking for help for, because a lot of the times when people ask for a generic critique, it's really hard to pinpoint anything, because the thing with generic critique is that we are many different artists here with many different styles and many different opinions, and we could be steering you completely down the wrong path, something you don't want to go towards. Like, we could start suggesting, hey, maybe study real horses, but you want to stay way more in the cartoony realm, or whatever thing. This just helps us help you and kind of figure out where you want to go with your art, and also gets you thinking about your art more, so it's not just somebody like fixing your art for you, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes. So you get a little more what you want out of your art, and less what we want out of our art, because art's very subjective like that.
Yeah.
What? Crazy. Oh man. No, but Allie's completely right.
So, yeah, on this green horse, I pull the head up just a little bit, mostly so that to give the neck a little bit more room, and also because if they were in this kind of pose, I imagine that their head would kind of nestle into like this area, this like kind of space. So I'd pull the head up just a little bit, and it's hard to show off the twist in the body, because the shoulders are kind of this, like here's one shoulder and here's the other roughly, and then down here you've got the hips, and based on like where the legs are going, it's like a lot more like straight. So to show that off, you've got this little line here. You'd probably need to honestly stretch that a little bit more and have that like a little bit more. I imagine this whole shape, you'd kind of move that over a little bit, so you've got the a little bit more of like a flat spot up here, because that's kind of like, in my mind at least, the top of the whole thing. You can have the tail kind of coming up out a little bit higher, I guess. I think hips being positioned a little bit more like that would kind of help show off this pose a little bit more, help explain this pose a little bit more. But no big stress.
Mm-hmm.
You've got someone here doing some stuff with the wings and all that. Changing the shape of the muzzle as well on this other horse, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just trying to match it with the muzzle of the other horse, because the way you have it right, sorry, the way you have it right now is really round, while this other one has a lot of shape to it. Just try to remember to keep that consistent. Even at different angles, those shapes will still exist. Mostly looking this part right here. It's really round as well, which, looking at the shading, it might seem like you weren't quite sure how to make it. You sort of put the round one in there. Just make sure that those shapes fit in there as well. I'm not doing a very good job. I did not warm up before this, but yeah, it's gonna dip in a little bit down here and then go back out where that cheek is.
Good job with the like little lines and stuff here on the neck. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think over here on the table, I'd just sort of straighten this plate out a little bit to sort of make it, just a little bit of perspective-y stuff, but no big deal.
Especially since you have such nice perspective on the other objects on the table, it really makes that plate stand out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also trying to think. I almost want to see a little bit more interaction between the two horses themselves. Like we have the pets really interacting with the bodies here, but maybe have this green one's head almost resting on the arm. We get some overlap between those two ponies, so it feels more like intimate. They're making contact, they're snuggling together, and that weight kind of, push against each other, and we have that interaction, which is, I think it'll be a nice small change, but a happy one to the picture.
Hmm. Yeah, you could have like the green one kind of pushing up into the hair and all that kind of sort of stuff, and having them sort of spill over and stuff like that.
Yeah, you could also
That
have
could be
like the
cool.
chin kind of covering up part of the leg here, kind of like they're snuggled in with the creature over there.
Heck yeah.
Everyone's all cozy.
Fun, cozy, interesting expressions and poses and stuff.
Lovely cozy picture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see someone just changing up the wing shape a little bit and sort of showing off the different kinds of feathers on a wing and all that kind of sort of stuff. If you look at just bird wings and other feathered wings, you can kind of see the anatomy for them and kind of use that to make your own wings look a little bit more realistic.
I did go ahead and add in eye spots just because eye spots, they put more life into the eyes.
Mm.
Never forget eye spots. Without them, they're zombies.
Yep.
In fact, my zombie character still has eye spots, so take that. All right, shall we move on to our next lovely horse?
Yep,
Let's
sure.
do it.
Sweet. Okay, we got this itty bitty horse.
Tiny horse.
Tiny Horses by Samo Doc. Samo Rodoc. Yeah, y'all are creating even harder names sometimes. Advice / critique on the character design / anatomy. I'm proud of the color palette I chose, yet I think the markings / hair streaks might be complicating her design. I'm also unsure about the wings and horn. I feel as if they're placed a bit awkwardly. So wings. They should definitely. The moose. Oh, someone's got that. Horn's fine though, for the most part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Horn looks like it's in a pretty good spot.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get,
If you really wanna,
oh,
I mean, you could if you want to be a little more like, it's not, the horn isn't a good spot, but you could end up moving it down just a little bit, yeah. But they
Yeah.
both kind of work.
Just between the eyes and up a little bit. And then you take like the center of the mass of the head and you go out to find the angle. Roughly.
you buddy. I do the same sort of ideas what Pix just described, but I do it. I bisect the head both vertically and horizontally. Find the center point. Find about 45 degrees off that top angle. Draw a line out. That is an easy way to go. Yep, that horn's doing the thing it needs to do and follows the head circle.
Heck yeah.
As far as the overcomplicating with stripes, I wouldn't say so. This is pretty standard character design for what I see out of people's OCs. But I've also seen people who just fill them with polka dots and stars and blown up with glitter sort of thing, and that's still okay. If you're to send this to a plushie maker, it's going to be a bit more expensive because you got a lot of fine details that's going to be in there. Could you simplify it more? Yeah. Do you need to? Probably not.
Yeah. This is fine. This is good. Good job with the shape on this hoof. Hard to kind of get that directional shape along with this, but you've done it well.
The only thing, and this is very nitpicky, is just be careful of the proportioning of said hoof when it bends like that. Like we have a certain chunk here and then it gets very thin in the back, but here we have a very much larger chunk. So just remember to keep consistent with where the line is pulled. That way the hooves all stay consistent with each other.
Yep, exactly. This area is always going to be really difficult. So, yeah.
Also, don't be afraid to use more pixels. You got a lot of them. I'll tell you, most of them are free, except for this one right here. This one's going to cost you $9.95, but the rest are free.
With the ears, so the very top part of the ear here is completely white. I'd probably expect that one to be completely white as well, or at least to have like a little bit of like a line there, and to have like
It could
this
be
side be white.
facing out the other way, though.
Yeah,
This could be the back of the ear we're seeing.
it could be. It just feels weird.
I think it's
not
the
a big issue.
size. They're two different sizes. Even sorry, that was a bad line. The head's pretty on level with what we're looking at, so we'd see, the other ear at least pop up. And if we have some sort of consistency there, maybe it's a little easier to see.
With the expression, I could also see maybe this ear being up and this ear kind of the far ear being extended forward or something like that. Could be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Ears are super fun to like mess with, so feel free to go crazy with them. Go crazy, go wild, go off. I know, I've got everyone drawing ears.
Ears are funny and cute.
Let's move my haiku out of the way if everyone's ears. It's sort of like the like hook ear posing thing that you do.
Completely stolen from a Lumix. I saw him doing it once, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I love it forever."
This is mine now.
Yep.
Not sure if it worked for my ear, but it definitely needs some nice, sort of fluffy ear shapes.
But definitely chuck us more things, and feel free to chuck us not completed things as well. It's always fun to see people's sketches and their working sort of drafts and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Good job.
All right, let's move on to our next horse. It's a Twiggly, I think.
This is an OC from what their description was saying.
Oh, it is. My OC, the Buckball game.
I love this picture.
What an amazing picture.
It is
Beautiful.
I love the
No
graph.
notes.
I love the dynamic you get like with the previous picture you're hitting the rule of thirds really well. Like everything's really well placed. The eye I think immediately is drawn to the things it's supposed to be drawn to.
Mm.
I don't know,
That
I'm
melt
very-
shape. Holy 3D curve there.
Oh yeah, that's some nice lip rendering. HD lip rendering.
So, as someone who has once in his lifetime played a sport, clothes don't remain clean in a sport, especially sports that are on dirt and ground. To add a bit more flavor to the image, to sell how hard they are pushing, how hard they are working through that, adding a bit more of the dirt, the grass stains. Go see a baseball player. They are going to be covered in dirt and grass stains on their knees and elbows and sometimes chest, depending on how poorly they slide or fall or just decide that they wanted to build a sandcastle that day. But it does add a bit more storytelling to the image, selling the little details. Maybe a bit of sweat breaking down the pony's head to show just how hard they're pushing themselves through this. Freaking love that mane and tail, though. Those curves.
Curves are very nice. I would put a little bit more motion into this mane though, just because she is running, so that hair's not going to be lying flat against her unless she's like pulling back that way really sharply. Which I mean, she could be, but even then, you'd see it like flip up, going up that way. But if she's running forward, some of it's going to be going back to follow the motion.
This is very solid. You know, the actual shapes and the 3D and the form and all that is looking pretty fantastic, pretty great. Feel free to just be a bit like, you know, flowier and gesterier and sketchier and just like experiment and mess with, like, you know, the kinds of flicky weird motions that you see. Something that's really good for high energy poses like this, and sort of, you know, when you want to do things based on sports and based on, you know, all that kind of stuff. Pull up videos of people playing sports and then pause them now and then and use that as reference. Because if you know, go onto Google or something like that and then you type in playing soccer, sport, reference picture, you'll get a lot of like just posed pictures of, you know, people like standing still and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Whereas if you get a video up of people literally like doing the thing and just pause it, you're gonna see the real kinds of like
Yeah, I
pushing
feel like
themselves and
that's
all that.
very true, because I'm over here trying to figure out like how to make the pose more dynamic, but also make it like thinking about what this pony would be doing in this exact moment, like considering what she would have been doing before, like in the second before, and what she's trying to move towards doing in the second after. Those are very important things to consider when considering a pose. And yeah, like seeing people doing stuff in motion and in those fragments of motion can be very good.
I would say as well, it's a so all this looks great. All of that looks great. The mid ground, kind of probably like here to here roughly, it becomes a little bit difficult to sort of see that that is fading into the background because everything is so well defined, especially like areas like this where you see the you know, the individual strokes as it goes further back and all that kind of sort of thing. Down here, yeah, it makes sense to like see the individual like strokes of grass and all that kind of thing, but yeah, you see somebody like fading it out and
I don't
doing
know
all that kind of stuff.
what program you use, but if this just saying speaking, if this was me, and if assuming that I had this whole wall as like a separate layer, which I probably almost certainly would have, and the grass as well. I have a brush that's really good for like soft blurring everything, so I would like actually make it get like more blurry as it went in the background, with more of a focus making it blurry like around here, really to draw attention to where the objects are. Um, and that's very
Now,
helpful. I also have a brush that's pretty cool for. It's supposed to be meant for like galaxies, but like Ali and I were like having fun using it for all sorts of textures and stuff, and it's really good on clothes. You could probably use it for like muddy splotches. So I really like working
now,
on this.
yeah, you don't need to, like, you know, not fill that area out with detail or whatever, but it's more about focusing the detail where it makes sense to, and in a, you know, a thing like this, you'd expect a lot of detail kind of more in the foreground, and then as you go further back to not be able to see as much, just because that's how our eyes kind of work. So yeah, but all in all, you know, amazing picture. I love it. Great thing. Great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very minor
So
nitpicks on a good piece.
Anyone else
Ali?
have any other comments?
Yeah, sorry, I was just regathering my thoughts. I just have some thoughts on the hair itself. That it's such a very it's a hard line there, right? Hair doesn't really have that hard of a line, and I see someone's already teasing some little strands out and even making the hair come around here, but the flow of the hair isn't 100% making sense to me because pony hair comes down more like a mohawk. It's not quite like human hair where it cuts off at the base of the head and then flows down. We have a little more direction to play with as it goes to the back of the head and where it comes out and such. So right now it just kind of feels like a tube that kind of rolls around to the other side, and I feel like we lose a lot of opportunity to really sell. You have such beautiful detailing and texturing. I feel like that kind of sells short the kind of feel we can get going with the hair. Someone's kind of breaking away right now, the larger tube, which I think is already helping the feel of the hair itself. And I think the arc you have going is absolutely lovely as a flow. But we need to think about like, okay, you have the hair going basically straight up in this curve, but really the hair is going down and around. And I think that direction is also going to help as it comes out to the other side. Let me get a little thicker brush. As it comes out, around her shoulder there. So if we can, kind of we follow this curve, but then we can go back over top and then build like areas of hair for it. We get kind of layers we build on top of it, and we see the chunks that start curving around the base of her neck that eventually pop out the other side. So I think that's just something to pay attention to in your next drawing, the directionality of the hair, because you have such lovely, lovely detailing. I think that the directionality and the fact that it had no texture to the what's it called when there's an outline for something this not it's silhouette, I guess, is also an
Yeah.
acceptable term. The silhouette of the hair having such a sharp line kind of kills the hair for me personally, especially when you have such lovely stuff going on already. So just something to be wary of next time. And see, someone made a really messy, mussy scribbles, which I think works so perfectly for an activity like a rigorous sport. I almost want to see more mess to the top hair, and maybe even see it flinging to the side, like she's in motion, so it's not going to stay that neat twilight bangs going on. We're going to have a little bit more motion, just like the back of the hair as well. So I think that's something you could definitely push and play with in your next piece, especially if it's a very active piece. Because I know a lot of us are used to drawing ponies just kind of like sitting, standing, cuddling, being cute. But when things get in motion, we have a lot of opportunity to push the secondary motions like hair and anything else that kind of freely moves while we're doing stuff. So I think, yeah, it's just something to pay attention to next time. And also, like, someone had some hairs even running in front of the neck this way. And if you get the directionality, facing the right way, it definitely feels like it can flow in front of the neck as well as behind the back. So it's just something to think about next time.
That's probably an area where doing that, looking at videos and then pausing it and then seeing how hair flows and seeing how, all those kinds of things move would be really beneficial. You can see some buttons like push the pose even further by like, pushing these out and all that kind of sort of stuff, which just sort of enhances the vibe of the picture and all that, enhances the like, just strenuous and all that stuff. And someone drawing an absolutely amazing picture up there.
All right.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
Good job on. No, I was just gonna say good job on like going outside the norm for pony pictures and actually like pushing for this kind of like interesting, active sort of pose because you don't see it a lot.
This is really, really great work here.
Oh, and she's now holding a knife. I think that's
That makes sense.
TPC
Courtesy
is
of
doodled
TPC.
over the text that I put on here.
right.
Okay, sorry. One last little because someone already did kind of a nice paint over here. You had little flecks coming out of the tail all the way around. Another thing to consider. Think about what the hair is. It's all long strands, so we're not going to be seeing a little spike out every turn. We're going to be seeing really long, flowy. Sometimes we'll have a jut out maybe, but it's not going to be quite as spiky-licious as you
Mm,
might think.
that's uh, a thing that's used in art a lot is the concept of big, medium, small, and you see it in use up here, where it's like you've got the big shapes. You work out kind of how those go first, and then you kind of build like medium-y sort of like breakaway shapes on top of that, and then for that you add like these little tiny flicks, and it just sort of yeah. Because if you just have these tiny uniform little flicks everywhere, it's probably not going to look as dynamic as it is if you have like this big section and then
Yeah.
this big section and then like maybe a little like medium section here and
I feel like that's
all
very
that
good
kind of stuff.
advice, and I haven't heard of this technique aside from I feel like you've talked about this before at some point, but
Mm.
that is closer in line to how I visualize and design like the hair. Yeah,
I
it
think I
just
think I
makes for a
heard it
much more
while
dynamic looking thing.
I think I heard it while listening to Ken Kale, which is a YouTube artist who is pretty interesting and cool.
I heard it when I was watching a thing on like prop design and background design and animation because they tend to follow that pretty big. Like just
Mm.
if you're gonna scatter objects around a room, it's good to pair them in like the whole big, medium, small to get some variety but not have it stand out too much.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions? Any other art they'd like to submit?
Any other haikus you want me to write?
Yeah, I want a haiku about you.
I'll have to work on it. I'll get back to you.
And I also want a haiku about. Oh, we have a swoosh. There we go.
Swoosh.
Yeah, we need a haiku about swooshing.
That's fair, yeah. A haiku about fine line.
I did put one. I did one earlier. I said, "Be wary of." Oh, that was more of a Dark Souls thing with the haiku, but I said, "Beware of reference and try swoosh." I'll make a haiku version.
All right. Well, seeing as no one else has pinged our faces with any additional art, we're going to call it a day. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Why?